Iranian leadership signals it may back away from agreements with world powers as leaders demand sanctions will be lifted immediately upon signing a final deal. Italian police have arrested a man believed to have shot dead 4 people at the Palace of Justice in Milan. And French television network TV5 Monde was victim to an apparent cyber attack by individuals claiming to belong to the Islamic State group, causing a 3-hour blackout. Good afternoon, you're watching i24 News. Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei said he neither backs nor rejects the interim accord signed with the 6 world powers on Tehran's disputed nuclear program. Khamenei demanded, however, that all sanctions be lifted immediately when a final agreement was concluded, adding that some of the terms show Washington's, quote, devilish intentions. This comes shortly after similar comments by Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, who said Tehran will only agree to a final nuclear accord if all sanctions imposed on the country over its disputed nuclear works are lifted.
We will not let go of our peaceful nuclear technology. Our nuclear facility in Natanz will continue its activity. Enrichment in Natanz will continue. We have over 1,000 centrifuges in place in Fordow, and they will remain in place. In Iraq, we will have a heavy water reactor for the production of medicine for medical purposes. We will continue research and development based on the scientific capabilities of our own intellectuals and scientists and according to our national aims. We will not sign any deal unless all economic sanctions are lifted immediately on the day of signing that deal.
And staying with Iran, Washington has acknowledged Iranian involvement in the ongoing fighting in Yemen and is warning that it won't stand by as Tehran destabilizes the region. Here's more from i24 News reporter Yoav Borovich.
For nearly 2 weeks, Saudi fighter bombers have pounded Houthi rebel positions and convoys around Yemen, but so far the offensive has forced them neither to retreat nor sue for peace. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry on Wednesday has warned Iran for the first time over its alleged support for Shia Houthi rebels in Yemen and said the U.S. would support any Middle Eastern country that felt threatened by Iran and would not stand by if Iran destabilized the region.
We're not looking for confrontation, obviously, but we're not going to step away from our alliances and our friendships. We're well aware of the support that Iran has been giving to Yemen. And Iran needs to recognize that the United States is not going to stand by while the region is destabilized or while people engage in overt warfare across lines, international boundaries in other countries.
Tehran, meanwhile, has denied accusations it is backing the rebels. However, it reportedly dispatched Navy vessels to the Gulf of Aden off Yemen on Wednesday. The UN warned against the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, where at least 560 people, including 76 children, were killed in the last 2 weeks. Another 1,700 people were wounded, and at least 100,000 fled their homes.
And staying in the region, a Palestinian official said today that an agreement had been reached with the Syrian government to use military force to expel Islamic State militants from an embattled Palestinian refugee camp in Damascus, which IS militants largely overran last week. The official said the Syrian government has agreed to ensure safe passage to refugees in Yarmouk and to provide them with shelter outside the camp. And in Europe, Italian police have arrested a man believed to have shot dead 4 people at the Palace of Justice in Milan. The Italian Interior Minister said the presumed assassin was detained by military police as he tried to flee. The man has been identified as Claudio Giardiello, with one of the victims being a bankruptcy court judge overseeing his bankruptcy case. The sound of gunfire inside the Palace of Justice on Wednesday morning reportedly sparked panic, with hundreds of people pouring down stairways towards the exit, while policemen searched for the gunman. And in the U.S., U.S. Officer Michael Slager has now been charged with murder and fired from the police force after being seen in a video shooting an unarmed black man, Walter Scott. More in the following ABC report.
223, dispatch, shots fired. Subject is down. He grabbed my taser.
This morning, new details about the police officer in this disturbing video. And new video of 33-year-old Michael Slager shortly after the shooting telling his account to an officer. The North Charleston policeman and former Coast Guard member charged with murdering Walter Scott has been fired.
We are doing our best here, not only as a city, but as a police department. We're going to continue to strive to do what's right.
For the first time, the man who took that video is coming forward. Faden Santana says he saw Slager and Scott struggling before the shooting and heard the sounds of the officer triggering his stun gun. But as he told NBC, he, Scott, never used the taser against the cop. Slager lives just over a mile from the empty lot where police say he went too far, gunning down this unarmed African-American father of four. He has yet to enter a plea. According to police reports, Scott and an unidentified passenger were stopped by the officer in a parking lot a block away from the shooting where the passenger remained. The officer has a family too. His wife is 8 months pregnant, and his two stepchildren are 11 and 13 years old. Neighbors say they were a quiet, everyday family.
He was into his job. He said he wanted to go federal, and that was his next step.
Slager's bosses say that despite his dismissal, the city will continue to provide his wife health insurance until their new baby is born.
We think that is the humane thing for us to do, and we're going to do that.
Protesters are in the streets and at City Hall demanding more answers from the chief of police.
You're the mayor. We want to talk to the chief of police.
But with state authorities running the investigation, local police could say very little.
And U.S. President Barack Obama arrived in Jamaica yesterday to meet with 48 leaders of Caribbean nations in a historic meeting that will deal with both security and energy issues. As the first U.S. president to visit Kingston since Ronald Reagan in 1982, Obama seeks to reassert U.S. leadership, and analysts maintain that Washington is also looking to convince Caribbean islands to cut off their dependence on Venezuelan oil. From Jamaica, the president will travel to Panama to attend a Western Hemisphere summit, where Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has made clear he will confront Obama over new U.S. sanctions. And in Europe, the French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius and Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve visited the French television network TV5 Monde after an apparent cyber attack. The Paris-based network said it had been hacked by individuals claiming to belong to the Islamic State militant group, bringing the channel to a 3-hour blackout and severely damaging the systems. The hackers also hijacked its websites and social networks. i24News Desk has more.
French TV channel TV5 Monde was working on Thursday to regain control over its 11 channels and websites after an extremely powerful cyber attack claiming to be part of terror group Islamic State.
We don't know for sure, but it's been messages from ISIS have been appearing in English, in Arab, and in French on our website.
France is part of the international coalition fighting Islamic State insurgency in Iraq. This morning, French ministers gathered outside TV5 Monde offices in Paris, saying the government is doing everything possible to find the suspects.
This is an attack of a new scale that should incidentally make all TV stations very watchful. Everything is in place to be able to find the hackers, punish them, re-establish a signal, and avoid any other cyber terrorist attacks from threatening the liberty of expression in the future.
Early Thursday morning, TV5 was able to relaunch its signal, but its stations could only broadcast pre-recorded programs. TV5 Monde broadcasts in over 200 countries all over the world.
And police in the UK are hunting for a gang of burglars who raided as many as 70 deposit boxes in London's jewellery district, making off with cash and gems worth as much as £2 million. Police officials say the burglars used heavy equipment to break into a vault, and there is concern that the thieves may have had inside information. Officers combed the scene yesterday and began the forensic process to fully examine what has been called the country's biggest heist ever. And those are your headlines from i24 News. Tune in again in 20 minutes for the latest news stories from around the globe. And be sure to follow us on our Facebook and Twitter. I'm Danny Swibel. Thank you for watching.